Tonight, we debate 8 Oscar winners from the 2000s. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Debate 8. My name is Adam Douglas, and this is the show where we pick a topic and you decide the winner. You vote live. You decide in a tournament bracket style which is going to win, and we have an awesome topic for you tonight. It is Oscars week, and look, I know that it's cool nowadays to hate on the Oscars, but not me. I'm a guy who likes watching the Oscars. It's very nostalgic, bringing me back to my youth, when I used to love watching the Oscars. And since it's Oscar week, we're going to take a look back at Oscar winners, specifically Best Picture winners from the decade of the 2000s, the aughts. Okay, and we have an incredible list of 8 movies to choose from. It's going to be very difficult matchups, and I cannot wait to get into it. Now, tonight, again, I do have a guest, and I do believe that fingers crossed, I fixed the issues, or at least, let's hope that all the issues are fixed, because last week was an unmitigated disaster. Once again, I apologize to Trini of Second Street Marvel, who is a real trooper when it came to everything. So let's hopefully he doesn't hate me too much. Okay, so yes, like I said, 2000s Oscar winners, and let's not waste any time. I want to bring in our special guest for this evening. It is the man from Nerdy Blurb TV. It is Ryan. Ryan, welcome to Debate 8. How are you, sir? Yes. Oh. Thank you. Uh-oh, they're saying... All right, hold on. They're saying they can't hear you at all. All right, talk now. Let's see. Okay. Cap in Pennsylvania, Sir Nerdalot, can you hear him? Please tell me you can hear him. Because of course, what would happen is I have this all set up, and then you can't hear.
And then it doesn't work.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay.
That's how it goes.
Not yet. See, I'm almost like to my wits. Honestly, I'm at my wits' ends with I can hear his excitement. We can hear. Okay, perfect. All right.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
I forgot sometimes the chat's on delay, so like I get freaked out. Okay. Excellent. Okay, there he is. Okay, so first of all, Dan Barrios, it's good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Dan was a very early supporter of the show. I'm very glad he's here. Captain Pennsylvania is here. Sir Nerdalot is here. All right, so Ryan, for those of the people in the chat who don't know who you are, why don't you go ahead and give them a little brief explanation of who you are and what you do on YouTube.
Awesome. Okay, so my name is Ryan, and I have been on YouTube for coming up on 2 years in April 1st, actually. Nice. Believe it or not.
Happy anniversary.
Been fun. YouTube is my job. I work full-time as a video editor. for an off-roading company here locally in Utah, in the U.S. Utah is a great place to do outdoor stuff, and we do lots of that kind of stuff here. So it's a lot of fun. I love movies, though. Moto is fun, but movies is my passion. I thought that I'd take the two together one day, do a YouTube channel, and my good buddy Brandon Wilding, my good buddy, just too many good buddies, honestly, Roxana, talked me into just doing a YouTube channel, and here we are meeting totally awesome people like yourself, and I bet just as many people out in the chat. There's a lot of people out there that I freaking love that are here. Thank you guys so much.
And I mean, I don't know if you're ready to announce it, but you have a series coming up soon, right? I don't know.
I am not ready to announce that.
Ready to announce that. Okay. We'll skip that.
But yes, I will say this, though. I will say this, though. You are a part of it.
Yes.
A few other people that we know are a part of it. Yes. And 27 other people are a part of it.
Wow.
And I'm super stoked for it.
Cool.
And we'll be announcing it.
Cool. Definitely look out for, follow Ryan on Twitter, follow the YouTube channel. Links are in the description below. So definitely follow all of him. And, because, I'm not going to talk about it. No spoilers, but it's definitely been a fun thing that he's working on right now. So, okay. So let's breeze by all that stuff. Okay, I'm going to get straight. Acacia, right? Okay. Acacia is here. Definitely welcome to the show. Let's get to the bracket. Okay. So we can explain to the people who are new, who may not understand what's happening. So what we do is we do this NCAA tournament style bracket show, and we take 8 things from a topic. So in this case, our topic is 2000s Oscar winners, and we have 8 movies, and we match them up. In every single round, you guys are going to vote, right? It's me and Ryan, we're going to give our opinions, but at the end, all of us together, we're going to vote, and we're going to decide who moves on. Okay, it's not just us two idiot heads talking and giving us our opinions. We're getting everybody involved here. All right, so let's break this down. I'll get Ryan's opinion on these initial matchup before we get into a deep dive. The first matchup, the number 1 seed, Return of the King, going up against the number 8 seed of A Beautiful Mind. That should be a good one for sure. It's gonna be tough.
So, so A Beautiful Mind. So 8 seed is a Beautiful Mind.
That's how hard it is. These were very difficult. And
that is a tough one.
So here's what it is. I did a combination of audience scores and reactions and critics, and I kind of melded them all together. This one was one of the most difficult ones. So we'll see. I think there might be some upsets in here, which I'm totally fine because the last few shows have all been chalk. So I'm okay if we get a little upsets in this one.
So this is really interesting though, because 2000s, when you told me that we were going to be doing this, I was excited because 2000s is actually a pretty forward-thinking time for Hollywood. We saw a lot of really cool things happen, a lot of indie things, a lot of newer type things. So even in my own mind, I was trying to put in my own bracket the way that you do it. And I gotta say that we're fairly close. There's a few others that but I mean, I guess we're not doing nominees, but there would be a lot more other ones that I would put on here, even ones that would be nominated, but I'm really happy with what we've got here today.
Cool. So here's let's get to the second matchup here. The number 4 seed, The Hurt Locker, going up against the number 5 seed, Slumdog Millionaire. So that's going to be an interesting one. The number 3 seed, The Departed, going up against the number 6 seed of Gladiator. And the number 2 seed, No Country for Old Men, going up against the number 7 seed, $1 Million Baby. The crazy thing about the 2000s, and I'll just jump in what you were saying, this was one of the decades where you saw the most mainstream blockbusters being nominated for Oscars. And in the 2010s, we kind of got away from that a bit. But this whole decade had a ton of films that not only, were critically accepted, but they, also the public actually saw these movies, which is really cool. And I think finally last year and this year for the Oscars, I think we're kind of slowly getting back to that as well.
Yeah, I think you said it right. I think this decade was the one where the Academy was kind of like the cool dad. Was
Right.
like they were like, yeah, we're gonna like a lot of the ones that you guys like are probably gonna make it in, and I don't even think they were pandering. It's just that
No.
movies like Lord of the Rings was actually really freaking phenomenal, and all
Exactly.
three of them actually were nominated for Best Picture.
Right.
And Lord of the Rings just kind of swept everything. So,
Right. So in case anyone was confused, all of these did win Best Picture. Okay, not only were they nominated, but these are actual winners for their years. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's get finally to our. We got the ambassadors here. Here, let me see if I can roll that again.
yo, ambassador, what up?
There we go. Oh, you know what? I don't know why it's so tiny. It's not the AMB, it's the ambassador. Welcome. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. All right, let's get into this. So here's how this works, okay? We're going to give our opinions. I'm going to give mine. Ryan's going to give his. We're going to start with Ryan. I'm going to read out some of your opinions in the chat down below. So definitely give us your opinions on this matchup. And then when we're done, we're going to vote. And I will explain how we vote once we get to that. But Ryan, we have probably one of the greatest fantasy films of all time. You know, the third film of an incredible trilogy going up against a movie that really put Russell Crowe on the map as a serious actor who looked at mental illness and encompassing what it's like for a man to go through that. Very different films, but both excellent films. So what do you feel about these films and these matchup as a whole?
Okay, first up, just going to say it. Everyone's thinking it. Way bad of a matchup. Not so much because, I mean, what honestly can match up to Lord of the Rings? I think people are going to be surprised tonight. I think everyone's going to assume that I'm going to pick Lord of the Rings, but I think we're going to be surprised tonight. But this is kind of like a friggin' UTIP versus like USC, you know? Like this is going to be a blow out of the water. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, not only was it a great movie, but it just like what you and I were saying earlier, it made Hollywood think forwardly so much more when it comes to the awards, to just pretty much anything, honestly. Mainstream, cast, and friggin' so many things I could go off. So yeah, Lord of the Rings is probably going to take this one, but stay with us because it's probably going to get really interesting down the road.
Here's what I have to say. I completely agree with you. I think Lord of the Rings will win this matchup. Even though Beautiful Mind is a great film, Russell Crowe is excellent in it. But here's the one knock I have against Lord of the Rings, and I didn't really realize this so much until I went back and rewatched all these films for the tournament. If you don't have the first two films of Fellowship and Two Towers, you are seriously lost in this movie. Like this movie just jumps you right back into it, and it is really, even though it's great, it's really not a standalone film, like at all. If you don't understand these characters, there's zero character development at the beginning. You're right back into it. So I'm not saying that that's going to dissuade me from probably voting for this, but if I have to give it a serious knock and some consideration, that's my biggest gripe with the film is the first act is just jumps right into it. But you know, as a trilogy, that's great. That's what you want. But
exactly,
you know,
a lot of people use that. I don't want to call it an excuse because it's a very valid one. It's a valid point. A lot of people, I feel, use that against sequels when really, in my mind, sequels, especially trilogies like The Dark Knight, Terminator, even though it's really bad, this one in particular, I consider them all just one movie. So I've never really looked at Lord of the Rings, especially. I've never really looked at it as individual movies.
Sure.
Like you could say the same thing about the second one as well. You could definitely say, and that one was still nominated, and it should have won, maybe. But in my personal opinion, you already know what you're going to expect. Like, you already know what you're going to get when it comes to the third movie in a trilogy, especially if it's the last one.
Right.
It's on you if you're lost. Not you.
Right.
Not you personally. I just
Especially
mean
a movie
anybody
of
else.
this caliber, right? That
Exactly.
clearly this popular. All right, let me jump in and chat, see what people saying. We got Dan saying no, there will be blood. No, actually, because there will be blood lost to No Country for Old Men that
Okay.
year.
Can I comment on that real quick? I thought the same thing when I saw this list, but when I saw that it was a toss up between that and No Country for Old Men, it's No Country for Old Men. Easy.
Yeah. I think if we all could do it over again, I think I don't know which one I would choose. I might choose There Will Be Blood over No Country for Old Men, but we'll save that one for when we get to it. Let's see. Let's see. A lot of Departed talk, which is good. Captain Pennsylvania says, I hate Lord of the Rings. It's not for everybody.
Sucks.
It's not it's certainly not for everybody. Look, it's not sci-fi, right? It's fantasy. So if you're not, it's a completely other subgenre all on its own. So if you don't like fantasy, there's really not much you can do about it. Or you like fantasy and just hate Lord of the Rings. I mean, there's always that.
But it is in the sci-fi fantasy category at FYE or any place you buy DVDs or VHS.
Is that even a store anymore? Does that
is?
Exist?
Utah's behind the times, y'all.
Wait. So you still buy physical media? Man, come on.
No, heck no.
All right, let's see. Second Street says, this is tough. I love A Beautiful Mind. It is tough. I love Beautiful Mind too. Not as much though. Not for me. Sir Nerdlot, it's hard not to think about Return without considering the trilogy, and that's exactly what you were saying, Ryan. That it's different than Star Wars, right? Star Wars, you can clearly define each one. You know, a lot of trilogies sort of are set up that way, where it's individual movies. But this one, I mean, it helped that they filmed it all together. So I'm sure as they were filming it, it was all out of order. DKOT Star Wars, thank you for showing up, man. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Dan says, Two Towers is best for my money. Two Towers is a pretty good movie. For me personally, I like the first one the best. I know that's usually their third, but I don't know. I'm a sucker personally for an origin story. Origin stories are like the best for me. And you know, so I don't know. When they're standing around and they're, you know, you have my axe, you have my bow. I mean, it gives you chills, right? It gives you chills. Akasia said, it is so hard not to be biased. I know, especially with this one for sure.
So can I interject just a little bit, because we've been talking a lot about Lord of the Rings, but I want to talk about A Beautiful Mind, even though for me it's just not even a competition.
Please,
A Beautiful Mind.
We haven't given it enough love.
Just like Trinity said, which by the way, Trinity, you're the man. I freaking love you. Trinity says it's a great movie. That's like totally an undersell, because even when I was 12 years old, I think, when I watched this, I was like, this is freaking way good. Like I didn't know anything about film or cinematography or anything like that. And I was just thinking, like, this would be a boring movie, but like, I am with it all the way. It still holds up today. And the cast is freaking phenomenal. Almost everybody in that cast is so great. And Ron Howard, how can you do? I mean, it's a really good movie.
This was when Ron Howard was in his, you know, prime for sure. Jennifer Connelly in this movie is as equally a leading character as Russell Crowe, John Nash. Totally. If she's not good, this movie doesn't work.
I feel like a lot of people label A Beautiful Mind as a career win for Ron Howard. It's like, oh, the Academy loves Ron Howard so much, of course they're gonna just give it to him. But like, honestly, in his whole filmography, there are some that I like more than this one.
Yes,
but like, it's pretty good, especially for the movies that it was up against in Best Picture. I don't know if you have that information on hand. If anybody else does, they can throw it in the comments. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I should definitely bring that up. So let's, you know what, while I do that, let's finally get to it. Let's get to the voting. Okay. So here's how this works. Everything is done in the YouTube chat. You don't have to go to an external website. Now I'm lagging because I brought up another screen. Okay. There we go. All right. You don't have to go to another screen, another thing. We don't do Survey Monkey. We don't do anything. We do it right here in the chat, which is the great thing about this show and what we do. So if you want to vote for The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, all you have to do is do exclamation vote 1 in the chat. Make sure you have a space in between vote and 1. Do it in the chat. I'm going to vote right now so everybody can see exactly how to do it. And if you want to vote for...
you don't have to do it.
If you want to do A Beautiful Mind, do exclamation vote 8. Okay. Let's see where we go. Look at this. I am shocked.
Already different.
Already. So I did think Beautiful Mind was going to get some votes. I didn't think it was going to be this close, to be honest.
I was going to get Captain Pennsylvania's vote, and that's about it.
Yeah, no. All right. So we got
you're the man,
Trinity
dude.
at 2nd Street voting A Beautiful Mind. We got DKOT Star Wars voting. We got Captain Pennsylvania. Look at that. So 3
Trinity
right off the bat.
would vote for that one too. He's such a pot stirrer. I freaking love that guy.
The Mongo's Big Thinks is here too, and he's voting for Return of the King. And what about you? Don't forget. I hope you got a screen up. You got to vote too.
I can vote.
Of course you. I voted. What is this? This is America. Everybody gets a vote.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean everybody gets to vote or their vote matters.
Well, you got. I'll tell you what. You got a minute to open up a screen and start voting.
So I just go to the YouTube page and
that's it.
Type it
that's
okay.
We worked hard for this. Look at this. All right. And look, you are going to be the tiebreaker most likely. Okay.
Oh, come on, guys. A Beautiful Mind versus Lord of the Rings. Do I really have to be the swing vote here?
I mean, apparently you do.
I guess.
Hold on.
Oh,
Beautiful Minds Oscar, because I want to see. I forget exactly who it went up against. But listen to this. So here's exactly why people are voting for this. It won Best Picture, won Best Actor, Best Adapted Screenplay. Oh, I'm sorry. Russell Crowe did not win. He was nominated. Best Supporting Actress, Jennifer Connelly. Best Director, Ron Howard. I mean, it's not a schlub movie for sure.
It didn't win Best Song though.
Are you sure? I don't have that in front of me, so I can't confirm or deny that one. All right, there's 7 seconds left.
So that means I have to do one.
Yeah.
Like that, right?
No. Totally wrong. Totally wrong.
Well, I just lost this by a technicality.
That's okay. I'm gonna pull a executive decision, and I'm going to add whatever it is that you tell me right now what you're going to vote for. So, are you voting Return of the King?
You know what? I've had the time to think it over, and Ron Howard did a good job, but it's still Lord of the Rings.
Okay. All right. So even though Ryan totally screwed up and made it a tie, we are going to claim Return of the King is going to move on. And unfortunately, A Beautiful Mind, even though a great film, it is going to lose. All right. So I put it in our bracket. Let's head back. Let's take a look. Okay. Return of the King now moves on with 60% of the vote. Okay. The fact that it didn't get much higher, I feel like it's not going to look good for future rounds for sure. I think it might skate by in round 2, but I'm very worried about it if it actually gets to the finals. And also, Second Street says
a lot of hate in the comments.
Man, they do not enjoy the fact that you don't know how to type exclamation vote and a 1. That's
they'll get over it.
Okay. Let's get to our second matchup of the first round. And this one, I can't wait to talk about this one because I revisited these films, and what I thought I would vote for, I actually have changed my mind, and we'll talk this out. But we have the number 4 seed, The Hurt Locker, going up against the number 5 seed, Slumdog Millionaire. Ryan, the floor is yours. How do you feel about these films?
Okay, this is probably the hardest one for me because both of these are in my top 100 faves of all times. Hurt Locker was a wonderful surprise. Slumdog Millionaire was also that surprise because I'd never even heard of it. And I just heard a buddy saying, "Oh, it's definitely going to win." And then my mom's like, "Yeah, it's going to win." I was like, "You haven't even seen it, Mom. You don't even know what you're talking about." So like, but I knew about the Hurt Locker and I wanted Hurt Locker to win because I just wanted to shut Avatar down. Not to mention, I really, really love Bigelow a lot. And I got to go with that because Bigelow is one of my favorite directors. Point Break is one of my favorite movies of all time, but we're not talking about Point Break right now. We're talking about what movies have done. And in my opinion, Slumdog Millionaire tore down a lot of walls when it comes to, because I kind of see this as a pretty mainstream movie. A lot of people might see Hurt Locker as like, oh, another war movie, when it's not. And it's probably one of the better kind of a Middle Eastern America in a Middle Eastern situation. I have to, oh man, that's a tough one. Curse you.
That's okay. You don't have to decide now. You can think, and while you're thinking, I'll give my opinion. So going into this, I was ready to vote Hurt Locker. Because you're right. This is not your everyday typical war movie. In fact, it's really not about the war. It's about the people in the war and what they're going through and the psychological damage and all the psychological, you have such different characters where you have the straight guy who is all about rules and regulations and that's why he becomes Falcon later on. But you have that guy, you have the guy who's afraid and is struggling and has to talk to a therapist, and he doesn't know how to handle war and kill and coming to killing somebody. And then you have the madman who is the wild card, and Jeremy Renner does an excellent job of just being the guy that cares but doesn't just has no care in the world. And even at the end, he says in no shortage of words, I don't love anything except war. He doesn't love his kid, he doesn't love his wife, he loves being at war. So you have these three, it's really more of a look inside people than it is the war. That's why it's so good, because the war is just the backdrop. It's not the movie. So that's what I was going into. But then I rewatched Slumdog Millionaire, and man, dude, this script is so tight on this film. Everything interjects, and the fact that it literally has, and it may seem simplistic, and I get it. I get that it may seem simplistic. But the fact that they were able to interweave his entire life to match everything that he needed to answer these questions was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant. And honestly, I don't think anyone could have directed this but Danny Boyle. Maybe Guy Ritchie. Maybe Guy Ritchie's style would have been the only other style to kind of, because they're very similar in that sense. But I think with any other director, I don't think this works at all. So I think that plays a lot into it too. And I don't know now. I literally just think I talked myself out of it. I don't know. Okay. I think I gotta go to the
This is what I gotta say though.
Yeah. And then we'll go to the chat and see what everyone has to say.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay. Let's see. Maverick Pilgrim. Oh, Maverick Pilgrim. Welcome, sir. Welcome. He says, well, I haven't seen either. Well, I recommend you see them because they're excellent movies. Okay. And I think they are on, so they're on streaming services. You could say, Sith Lord, I have no desire to see Slumdog, so my vote is biased. I mean, it's not biased. You have your opinion on what you want to see, which is totally fine. I would say see Slumdog Millionaire though, just because it's such an interesting story about a kid's life and what he goes through. But hey, if it's not for you, definitely, no one's forcing you to watch anything. Let's see. Mongo's Big Things. Eventually we get to vote between these two movies and the stream will record it. Yes. We're just talking it out, just sort of, fleshing out our opinions. And I definitely want to get the chat's opinions on the film to kind of get your thoughts out, and then we definitely will vote, and I will explain exactly how we do it. Second Street says both are good, but I know which one I like more. Okay, so I guess we'll see in a second. Maverick says, will you wait for me to watch them real quick before the vote? Yes. All right, we'll hang out for about 5 hours. Ryan, you got nothing. Yeah, he's fine. He's got nothing to do. It's cool. So voting's going to be tough for you, Mav, but I guess the only thing I would say is for now, vote on the poster, okay? Whichever poster you think is better marketing. Trinity
I'll
says,
say this. Guy Pearce is in Hurt Locker. If
that's
that
true.
Makes anybody
yes.
And
I'm not going to say, I'm not going to talk about him because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Falcon from the MCU movies is in it.
Oh, 100%. He's the straight guy. He's the guy that loves order and
Hawkeye
regulations.
is in it.
And Hawkeye. Dan says watch him on 32x speed. Yes, just speed right through it. Trinity says just watch the trailer. That's good too. Trailer tells the story, bro. Says Captain Pennsylvania. Yeah. Pretty much. Okay. So I think we'll start the poll. Okay. So for those who have just jumped in, this is how it works. If you want to vote for the Hurt Locker to move on to the second round, you do exclamation. Now, Ryan, pay attention. Okay. You do exclamation vote 4. There is a space between vote and 4. All right. Dan just voted in the chat. So if you see Dan there, that's exactly what you have to do. Okay. If you want to vote for Slumdog Millionaire, you do exclamation vote 5 right in the chat. Remember, you don't have to go anywhere. We do it right here in the chat. Okay, I think this is going to be another close one for sure. We got Trinity on 4, DKOT on 4. Ryan voted for Slumdog. Mavericks doing a write-in vote for Highlander 2. So I guess Highlander 2 has 1 vote.
That guy is my friggin' hero.
Cap and Mongo going for Hurt Locker. Also Sith Lord for Hurt Locker. I think I talked myself back into Hurt Locker. So I also am going to vote for Hurt Locker.
I gotta be honest, I haven't seen Hurt Locker in many a moon. Slumdog Millionaire too, now I think of it, but I guess Slumdog Millionaire made a bigger impression on me, so that's why I voted that one.
And I don't blame you, because like I said, I was ready to flip until I talked myself out of it. Here's the thing about Slumdog. It's fun. It is a fun movie. Although a lot of the kid's life is tragic. It's very tragic, but somehow they turn it into an actual fun movie. I don't know. It's so weird. It's so good. So good. But the Hurt Locker really, really stuck with me. Yeah. So that's why I voted for that. All right. It looks like Hurt Locker is running away with this. So I'm not going to stop.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. It's fine. Well, again, some of these, this next round, I'm telling you, it's going to be tough, because if the Hurt Locker, Acacia coming in. Oh, she's trying. She's doing a Slumdog vote. Oh, and oh my God, Sir Nerdlock.
Slumdog's rallying, y'all. Buckle up.
Sir Nerdlot just voted for Slumdog. It's making a comeback. It's got 30 seconds left.
Rally.
DKOT, Hurt Locker is one of those movies you take home with you. 100%. Totally agree with you. I even when I rewatched it, I was like, it stuck with me. Maverick said Slumdog was highly influential in Michael Scott's understanding of Indian culture, so I would probably lean that way.
He did so much for us in that culture.
He did. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, 5 seconds to go. Another close one, but I think we're going to call it here. We got the Hurt Locker moving on against Slumdog Millionaire. Poll is now closed. Let's go ahead and complete the poll. Let's go back to the bracket.
Nice.
Brian, look at this matchup for round 2. Return of the King against Slumdog Millionaire. That's going to be a fun one for sure to dive into. But now let's get to what I think might be the hardest one of the night, at least in the first round. We have The Departed against Gladiator. Ryan, how do you feel about these movies? Which one do you think deserves to move on?
I think that they're both really good movies. I think that they are directed by really great directors. And I also think that one is a little bit more overrated than the other.
Uh-oh. I need a drum roll here.
Not to mention that I truly believe that the Academy just thought that one of these directors was going to die soon, and they gave it to him. So it's Gladiator for me all the way. Easy.
So you're saying Departed is overrated?
Now, don't get me wrong. I love Departed. But out of all of Scorsese's works, it almost felt like an apology win. It's like, hey, we're sorry we didn't put in Goodfellas. So here you go. You know, even though I've never seen Goodfellas. But Departed is a good movie. It's an amazing ensemble. One of my favorite ensemble casts ever that don't make it a freaking awesome movie. But the intensity was crazy. The storyline was great. It's actually a remake if you didn't know that, of a Japanese movie.
Yeah, Infernal Affairs. Yep.
And that's something to consider when it comes to breaking it down to two difference, because I like original content. But you can't necessarily say that Gladiator is super original because it's got a Spartacus vibe. But in my opinion, there's way more things that are put into Gladiator: special effects, music, costumes, so many of those kind of things. In this light, in this whatever the bracket that we're doing, it's got to be the one that went balls to the walls, and that's Gladiator for me.
All right. When I first heard about Gladiator back in the day, I said to myself, I'm not going to go see this Braveheart ripoff. That's all this was. This was a Braveheart ripoff. And then I saw the film. Okay. It's Gladiator. Gladiator has to move on. Okay. Gladiator is one of the best movies ever made. Now, I love The Departed too. The Departed is an excellent film, excellent cast, great story. Honestly, though, internet, could you all shut the hell up about the rat at the end? We get it. Okay. Enough. We get you hate the rat. I don't love it either, but come on, let it go. Okay. That being said, dude, it's Gladiator.
I forgot about that.
Okay. Gladiator, I mean, it's way more rewatchable. Okay. It's way more quotable. Russell Crowe is a badass in this movie. Joaquin Phoenix is incredible and creepy as hell. He's awesome in this movie. The fight choreography is great. Just his overall story of a man who got tossed aside and he's got to fight his way back to save himself and his family. I mean, it's incredible. Incredible. I love this movie. There's no reason. I'm not even waiting. I'm starting this poll. If you all don't vote for Gladiator, okay, you don't have to vote for Gladiator.
I'm going to make predictions, though. I don't think Gladiator is going to win with this crowd.
I don't know. Let's see. Let's while the vote's going on, let's see here. Let's see. Sith Lord says Gladiator, but Departed was still great. I completely agree. Acacia says Gladiator. Dan says, what? Ryan's never seen Goodfellas? Wait, you didn't show Goodfellas? No. Did you say that? Did I miss that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Put that on your bucket list. You have to watch it. It's really good. Let's see. Captain Pennsylvania says, don't know what to pick. Sith Lord, are you not entertained? Come on. Endlessly quotable. Dan
One of the greatest movie quotes of all time.
Oh my God. Seriously. I mean, we're going to be saying that to the end of time. Dan says, Joaquin Phoenix's villain comes off as kind of goofy. I would say today, I mean, you know, the movie's what? A decade and a half old. So yes, I can see it coming off as goofy.
I thought he did pretty good.
But I got to say, Dan, for me, especially at the time, the fact that he was trying to bang his sister and like the whole, oh God, I would say creepy more than goofy, but I can see that. I can see that it can come off as goofy. You need an
immature character. You need an immature character to hate.
Yes.
An immature character with power, and that's exactly what he was. Sure, goofy, but I think that's the immaturity.
Maverick says Gladiator has some amazing actors in it as well. Jaimon Hansu is awesome in this movie. It's the first time we really saw him, and then he went on to do excellent stuff.
It's the first time I've ever heard his name pronounced.
And I'm pretty sure I said it correctly. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Maverick says Gladiator elevated the period action drama and launched so many more scripts because of its success. Just like Lord of the Rings, where people, if you do a fantasy movie, TV show, it's always compared to Lord of the Rings. We're still comparing things to Gladiator. We're not really comparing things to The Departed this way. Like, if you do anything in that time period for Gladiator, people are going to be like, okay, it's Gladiator. That's all it is. All right, I got to vote. I got to vote before time runs out. All right, let's see. I'm voting Gladiator.
I think
obviously.
Daniel will live. Hopefully Daniel will live.
It's okay. He's not the only one. There are two votes. He's not alone. Look, if it was any other movie, I think I would have voted Departed. Honestly, I think it ran into a buzzsaw of a movie that, you know, has so much, I don't know, nostalgia for me. Maverick Pilgrim says this Gladiator and Braveheart. Braveheart's still one of my favorite movies of all time. It just is. Those kind of movies I love, and I'm not saying like it's the only kind of movies I love, but those movies are my thing, for sure. Okay, man, this was a blowout. It's honestly, this is a lot more of a blowout than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be the closest one. This is clearly we have a Gladiator crowd here.
I really thought the Departed was going to run away with it.
Yeah. Definitely did not. Okay, so we got an 80% vote. Okay, so we got the number 6 seed Gladiator moving on. I'm adding it to the bracket. Let's go ahead. Let's jump back in. Okay, number 6 seed Gladiator is here. Now we go to the next and last matchup of the first round. It is the number 2 seed No Country for Old Men going up against the 7 seed $1 Million Baby. Oh, let's close out the previous one real quick. There we go. All right. This one's going to be interesting. I have some thoughts, but Ryan, I will defer to you on this one. What do you feel about No Country for Old Men and $1 Million Baby?
Okay. Clint Eastwood is a great director. I like a lot of his stuff, not all of his stuff. Coen brothers, some of my favorite writers, directors of all time. So when they came out with this one, it was kind of like weird. It's just like, this is such a weird move because you're making a thriller that's kind of not quirky like the rest of your stuff, because I saw Fargo and that was a great one. And I didn't go into that movie thinking that this is going to be Fargo 2 or anything, but it was different. And that is what I love about the Coen brothers, is that pretty much everything they make is different from each other. And because this was different and yet it had familiar overtones of a thriller, crime drama, all that kind of stuff, it did different things in characters. It did different things in plot. I don't know if people have seen the movie, so I, of course, will not spoil the movie, but they did unexpected things a lot.
For sure.
$1 Million Baby is a movie that I feel like I've seen 1 million times. $1 Million Baby times. And as good as it is, and as great as Hilary Swank may be, it's just no contest. In fact, No Country for Old Men, I am close to even putting it all the way.
Okay, so it's no contest for old men for you.
No contest for old men.
That was a bad pun. Okay, so let me jump into the chat. I'm not gonna talk, next. Let me see what you guys are saying. Let's mix it up a little bit. So Second Street says this is the hardest of all so far. This is a tough one. Sith Lord says No Country. DKOT says this is a tough one. Captive Pennsylvania. Stroking the chin. Not sure. Let's see.
Really?
A lot of Baby Yoda talk. Oh, I see. $1 Million Baby Yoda. Right. Got it. Excellent. Dan says, never felt a theater so quiet and heavy after Spotlight. Yeah. Spotlight is an excellent film. Thank you, Trinity, for sure. Akasia says, I think No Country for Old Men was such a great movie. I agree. Okay, so here, I'm going to start the poll. You guys can vote while I talk. So here's my thoughts. I agree that Million Dollar Baby has it's got a great third act, I think. But you're right in the sense that the first two acts are things that we've seen before, definitely. The end of No Country for Old Men was so weird and shocking that's how they would end the movie. And I don't want to give too much away. Hopefully a lot of people have actually seen it. But even from the first like 5 minutes, I mean, it's some hardcore action, and action may not be the right word. Violence. It's some hardcore violence, like right out the gate, and it doesn't stop. And Javier Bardem is a psychopath, and this movie really puts you on the edge of your seat the entire time. It is the definition of a thriller, for sure. Now, I don't necessarily know if I think this was the best movie of the year. I think There Will Be Blood might be better. By that face, you totally disagree, which it's fine. But the one knock I have about No Country is, and I know this was the whole point of it, but the movie was about Javier Bardem and Josh Brolin, except that it wasn't. It was really about Tommy Lee Jones on the periphery. And I don't know, maybe it was too high concept for me. And I mean, like I said, I like this movie, and I am going to vote for it. I'm actually going to vote for it right now before time runs out. But I don't know. I don't know that I love this movie. And while you're saying you might have it go all the way, I don't know that that's the case for me.
That's fine. I mean, what does every film YouTuber in the world say? Film is subjective. My opinion is my own, right? So, hey, Trinity, I get it. I'm doing it wrong, okay? But I personally feel like No Country. Let's talk about Million Dollar Baby right now. Because we haven't.
You're right. DKOT, it does have a point. They're 20 years old. No one can cry spoilers. You're right. Let's just talk about these movies. Totally
That's a good point. 'Cause I hate spoiling movies, but I also hate the fact that people aren't like.
It's fine.
We're here talking about it, so it's on you. Sorry.
Open season.
It's really interesting that you said that the movie. I feel like a lot of people say that the movie is really about Tommy Lee Jones because of the title, because of the ending, and I don't think that that's the case. It's a movie. It's a story about none of these people. It's about a story about fate and destiny, not necessarily good fate or good destiny, but how cruel it can be in an unsympathetic world. And I dig that. Million Dollar Baby, all it successfully did for me is just make me feel freaking depressed all the time. And I'm not down with that. Like, I want things to have a message. Sure, she didn't give up, but I'm like, I don't know. I've seen a lot of other movies do it better, in my opinion. And I personally feel like Million Dollar Baby shouldn't have won of that year. I have to make sure and see which ones are up, but it's not like the greatest. I also think that was a career win for Clint Eastwood because he might keel over and die any minute too.
Right. I think, and that's what people knock the Oscars for a lot, is that they do a lot of career Oscars, but sometimes it is what it is.
Mark my words. Tarantino will win for that alone. Fight me, Daniel, if you're in here.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. I think Sam Mendes is taking that one because that's a career win as well. 2 careers. All right, so we made it to the second round. Let me just pause right now and say thank you to everyone who is here, who is voting. This show doesn't really work unless you guys are here and you guys are having fun. And I hope that you guys are having fun. That's really the whole point of me doing this show, is to kind of get everyone here, get everyone talking and voting, and kind of give everyone their voice. That's why I like reading the chat for sure, because I love hearing everybody else's opinion. And I love how things are varied. My favorite thing are results like this where it's split. I love it. I love split votes just because I hate when everyone's like totally in one way. It's great. I love it. Okay. And of course, once again, if you're not following Ryan on Twitter or Ryan's YouTube channel, Nerdy Blurb TV, definitely go.
Probably
links are in the chat. Or not true. All right, let's do it. Let's get to the second round. Look at these matchups. Number 1 seed Return of the King against number 4 seed Slumdog Millionaire. Number 6 seed The Underdog, the Cinderella story, pun intended, because he was the Cinderella man. Going up against number 2 seed No Country for Old Men. Oh wait, Slumdog didn't win. Didn't Hurt Locker win?
Yeah, Hurt Locker won.
Hurt Locker won. Okay. So I'm going to fix that while we chat. Okay. So here we go. Lord of the Rings, Hurt Locker. Ryan, you go ahead. You tell me, what do you think about this matchup?
Okay, so Lord of the Rings and Hurt Locker, also, again, two very different movies. I feel like Lord of the Rings is going to run away with this on technicalities because they're matched up with things that are just totally different. One, you got an epic. Two, you've got a borderline independent film from a great director, by the way, who was up against Best Director with her picture up against Best Picture against her ex-husband James Cameron for Avatar, and she won. And that was dope because he did not treat her good. I don't care about James Cameron. So this is how I'm going to look at it. Okay. People might want to fight me about this because we have two completely different opposite movies, and one of them is one of my favorite movies of all time, Lord of the Rings, versus a very good movie that I very much enjoy that was very low budget, Hurt Locker. I have to go with what their opposites are. Who did it better? Who was able to pull off everything that we love about movies in a smaller budget? And I think it's going to be Hurt Locker for that reason.
Okay. Throwing down the gauntlet for Hurt Locker. Okay.
Why not?
I'm going to say that if there's any movie in this round that's going to upset Lord of the Rings, it's Hurt Locker. Especially with this crowd. It's not really about I don't know. It's you guys have been funny tonight, which with these votes, and it's awesome. So I'm not sure how this is going to go personally. I think I'm going to go with Lord of the Rings, just because I love fantasy films. Even though Hurt Locker was so good, and it really was an emotional ride, and I would say let's go acting, right? Let's split it up here. If we're going acting, I might go Hurt Locker. I think Hurt Locker definitely takes the advantage on acting, even though Lord of the Rings has incredible actors in it. But the performances of Jeremy Renner was alone, carried this film. But man, the Lord of the Rings is such an epic movie. And you know what? The special effects still hold up today. When I was rewatching it, I was like, not only do they hold up, but it's really amazing. It's not all CG. There's so many practical effects in that, and to have them pull it off and it still look good today, I don't know how they did it, to be honest. All right, I'm putting up the poll. If you want to vote for the Return of the King, go ahead and do exclamation vote 1 in the chat. If you want to vote for the Hurt Locker, do exclamation vote 4. I'm very curious what people have to say. Let's see. Second Street says the number is right, but the movie title is wrong. Yes, I fixed that. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dan says no contest, Lord of the Rings. Sith Lord says Lord. He's going Lord of the Rings. Second Street says this is almost unfair. Captain Pennsylvania says anything not Lord of the Rings. So I think we know who Captain Pennsylvania is voting for. Mongo says I got to go with the fantastical elements of Lord of the Rings here. Captain Pennsylvania, if this movie wins tonight, one tier. Okay. Cap, I hope that if this movie does win tonight, I hope that you still come back next week. For sure.
Hope you make a movie or a video on your YouTube channel explaining why. I'd love to see that.
$1 Million Baby could have beat Lord of the Rings, says Second Street.
Nah, he's wrong. I just want to point that out. Sorry. Love you, bro, but that ain't gonna happen, and
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen here. Hurt Locker is definitely not gonna beat out Lord of the Rings, but we're here to debate, right? And I haven't been doing that in the first round. I've just been going about things that I love. I'm here second round to stir things up. I
Do it.
honestly think that if we're looking at the numbers, Hurt Locker has got it because it made the most money on average. Yeah, sure, Lord of the Rings sold out all the time, but like Hurt Locker's budget was freaking next to nothing. They were running around with cameras getting shot at. Like they were doing the most that they possibly could on the smallest amount of budget, and
Yeah.
and they did freaking amazing. And it was going against the most, I mean, Avatar, a freaking juggernaut of money making and money spending movie. It's just that, in my opinion, I think is something that we should all remember when it comes to the history of film. I think that it says a lot, and I think that that balances out how epic Lord of the Rings is and how, I don't know, under the radar Hurt Locker was.
And you are trying hard to convince yourself. I'm telling you,
And
because
convincing
because
shits.
Lord of the Rings is uh, a genre defining film. Okay, you can make a war film, you can make a psychological film, you can combine them together, and you can make it tomorrow, and you could probably do it better, as good as Hurt Locker is. No one's doing Lord of the Rings better. And we'll see if Lord of the Rings is even going to do Lord of the Rings themselves better when they have the TV show. Okay. These movies still defining generations. Okay. This is a classic film. I'm pretty sure, I think it's tied for the most Oscar wins of all time, if I'm correct about that. So I'm telling you, I look, I love Hurt Locker. And your argument for it is spot on. I honestly, as much as I'm joking around, I can't disagree with a single thing that you've said. It's an incredible movie. If it wasn't going up against Lord of the Rings, it would definitely move on. I think, at least.
Out of all of the war films that are out there, which one do you think defines it? If Lord of the Rings is the quintessential fantasy film, which it is,
Okay.
and inspired so much more, which one is the quintessential war film? In my opinion, it's not Hurt Locker, but it did a really good job. I would say it's probably the quintessential Afghanistan, America in places where they shouldn't be kind of thing. I'd say it's Saving Private Ryan, but
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's definitely Saving Private Ryan, but it's tough because they're so different.
Full Metal Jacket, that's a good one.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket's a good one too. Thin Red Line's a good one as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm partial to Spielberg anyway, and I'm partial to that movie. So, for me, yeah, I would say that. But see, Hurt Locker's not really a war film. That's what's so
yeah, it's a good
different and great about it, is that it really has nothing to do with the war itself. Okay.
But I mean, you could debate on the whole fact that there wasn't a war. It was all just these freaking these soldiers trying to struggle with what they were supposed to be doing. And for a film to come out in such political climate the way that it did, kind of hit a little bit harder than Lord of the Rings. Wouldn't you say?
I would say. But, who knows what the orc climate's going to be in 2020? We don't know. Okay. We have no idea.
Yeah, Bright 2 is going to come out.
Yeah, it could. You never know. We're a couple years away from that. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let's go back to the bracket. The number 1 seed, Return of the King, is moving on. So now, okay, I think this is going to be a tough one again. Okay, number 6 seed Gladiator going up against the number 2 seed No Country for Old Men. What do you think? I think, okay, let me get this out of the way. Let me just go first, okay? Because I think
I talk a lot, bro.
I think we know which one that we're going. Each of us are going here, okay? Okay. Well, we'll see. I'm going Gladiator. I love this film. I said this before. I think this might be I don't know. It's definitely top 50. I haven't done a list in a very long time, so I don't know exactly where it lands for me. But it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I could literally watch it once a year for the rest of my life and be totally happy. So for me, Gladiator is definitely moving on. But I'm sensing you may be torn, or we may have an unexpected direction. So what are you thinking for this one?
Well, I don't like to all of a sudden just have my, because I didn't know who was going to win tonight. I didn't know who's going to move on. So I like to spit out my thoughts as I thunk them. When it comes to everything that you just said, pretty much applies to me and No Country for Old Men. That is a movie that I can watch all the time. In fact, I watched it all the time. It was a movie that I studied like crazy. Not because I wanted to I wanted to understand it, even though that was an element. I wanted to learn how they did things. In my mind, in my opinion, I think movies should have three really big elements: cast, good story, and really interesting shots to look at. I mean, we're watching a movie, right? It's visual. No Country for Old Men cinematography is really, really awesome. And with Gladiator, even though it's epically done, Ridley Scott is known for just doing a lot of just like cuts and all that kind of stuff. Coen brothers let things breathe. They let things sit, and they do it with such discord too, to make you feel uneasy. I just think the editing in that movie, me as an editor by profession, admires the crap out of that. It's No Country for Old Men for me. And that's an upset because, first off, it was an upset when it won Best Picture, and I thought it was totally deserving.
Okay.
So there's that.
Tech Gear is here. Tech, thank you. I can tell this is your first time because you're saying, "Oh my God, this is live. I love this so much." Thank you so much. But I had a great question in the chat, so I want to bring this up to you, Ryan. He asked, "Which movie ages better?" Which one?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And No Country for Old Men was designed to take place in a time that we didn't know what time it was in. Because like people debate that, oh, it was in the 80s. Oh no, it was in the 70s. People even say that it's modern day, even though a lot of the cars were driving around. There are modern things that happen in that. But that doesn't mean that generations will appreciate it over time. I think the only reason why Gladiator will age better is because it's Rome and people like period films. But then also, second, they're making a second movie. They're making a sequel to that, which is bastardizing this film, in my opinion. I would say probably Gladiator, even though it wouldn't age well for me with No Country for Old Men. But that is a freaking good question.
Yeah. See, I was actually thinking, I was leaning more towards No Country for Old Men for which one aged better. And here's the only reason why I would say that. And it has nothing to do with story, acting, or anything like that. When I rewatched No Country for Old Men, this movie could have been made and released last week.
Yeah.
That's how good it looks. You're right. The cinematography is insanely good. It's not dated. It's still fresh. The editing is incredible. The fact that it was released in 2007, so we're talking 13 years ago. If you watch it today, I'm telling you, you would not know it's 13 years old.
Yeah,
not at all.
No, that's a very good point. You could also say that Gladiator's special effects are, at the time, they were good, but they are outdated.
Yeah. But that's not to shortchange Gladiator either for special effects, because I mean, how many times has everyone, who's a film fan, who's studied film, seen those behind the scenes shots of them panning in the Pantheon, and like it's all digitally recreated, and it was huge for the time. They did so much advancements in CG with the tiger.
That was like their biggest selling point with that movie too, is to see the Colosseum in its full glory, which it was. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I think we've chatted enough. I think I'm gonna throw open the poll, and then I'll jump into the chat and see what people are saying. If you want to vote for Gladiator, do !vote6 in the chat. And don't forget, do a space in between vote and the number. If you want to vote for No Country for Old Men, go ahead and do exclamation vote 2 in the chat. Dan is already jumping in with No Country. Okay,
Dan.
I think my dark horse. I think oh God, look at this. It's so tight. It's so tight. I don't know. I was about to say No Country was going to win. I thought that I didn't sell Gladiator enough. But now we're tied. Oh man.
Oh hey, Tech Gear Clothing is here. This is one of my very good friends and coworkers, Brandon.
Oh, awesome.
If you guys want to check out tech gear and clothing for outdoor stuff, that channel first off is blowing up. And it is definitely where you need to be. So, what up, Brandon?
Well, that's a very on point and on brand name. Then, if if he's doing tech gear and clothing, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll check that out after the stream for sure. I love both of those things. Anything tech, I'm in. Okay. Oh God. So here's our problem, right? I'm about to vote. And I think I'm going to tie it up.
Now it has to be you then.
I know. But all right. So I'm voting Gladiator. If it's a tie, we've yet to have a tie. And I think if it's a tie, then I guess I have to be the tiebreaker, which I don't want to be. I really don't want to be, because all I'm going to do is get hate from half of you. Right? So... No, in all honesty, I think if, all right, let me go to the chat and see what people are saying. Maybe that'll sway me. Let's see. All right, so we got Cat in Pennsylvania say Gladiator all the way. Sir Nerdlock, Gladiator was legendary, and so was No Country, which is true. Tech Gear says No Country for Old Men is a fine aged wine. Sith Lord thinks this is way too easy because he said last week's Kevin Smiths were tougher. Possibly. I know Trinity will definitely agree with that one. Tech Gear also says Gladiator won't be as impactful in 100 years. I guess none of us will know for sure. We'll have to let our ancestors decide that one. Let's see. I think Trinity says I think both of these movies age well. Let's see. Akasia says I really wanted to agree with No Country for Old Men, but Gladiator is DK. A lot of people hating on Gladiator 2, which is cool, which is awesome. Let's see. Sir Nerlot says No Country holds up more. Sith Lord says we need a wild card entry. I know. If only that was possible.
What would it be?
Well, the only other two actual Best Picture winners of the decade were Chicago and Crash. And
Crash is a controversial one, but I hate it.
Do you? Because I really hate that movie.
I mean, it's on the nose with its message, but I love you. Did you see Babel?
I did.
Oh man, I loved that movie, and in my opinion, it should have won over Departed by far. But like, I love that kind of storytelling where it's a lot of people, different people's perspectives, and they all crash into each other in the end. I just dig that.
Yeah, I look, the concept. I dug. You're right. The concept was fine. I don't have a problem with concept. I don't know. It just didn't work for me, for sure. I think of the two, I probably would have put in Chicago. But I know that you hadn't seen it, or you said you either hadn't seen it or you didn't like it. So I wasn't going to throw in a movie that you weren't digging.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it, so I can't knock it.
Okay. So we are stuck, and here's what I'm going to do. Okay.
No, we're not. You know exactly what you're going to vote.
I know. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the good guy here, and I will push through No Country for Old Men.
No, don't be the good guy.
All right, fine. Screw it.
Do it. because it would be
Screw
a
it.
good matchup between Lord of the Rings and Gladiator. Because
All right.
honestly, I was pushing pretty hard for No Country for Old Men, even though I really and truly, honestly do like it more than Gladiator.
All right. If you want me to do it, I'm doing
I
it.
do want you to do it.
Okay.
That'll make
I'm doing it.
it
It's gonna
easier
make
for Captain Pennsylvania to vote it in.
Right. I think Cap probably left. He probably just closed out the browser already. All right, let's go. Let's go
That dude is pretty loyal. Okay, sorry, I'll stop interrupting.
No, Cap's awesome. Cap's awesome. Okay, so here we go. Number 1, Return of the King. Number 6, Gladiator. All right. I don't think we need to talk too much about this. I think we've talked this to death. So I'm just gonna pop open our voting, and then we could talk it while it's going on. If you want to vote for Return of the King, one of the greatest fantasy films ever made, do vote 1 in the chat. If you want to vote for Gladiator, one of the most epic movies of all time, vote !6 in the chat. Let's see. Should I vote? Cap? Yes, you should vote.
Please
we
vote.
know you're voting for Gladiator because you said anything but Lord of the Rings because you hate that movie. So we know what you're doing. Okay. Let's see. DKOT says, whoever gets the coin flip gets the delegates. Yes, for sure. God, what was a worse situation? Last round or the Democratic thing that just happened the other night? Both were an S show for sure. Mongo says, well, at least the final round is easier for me to decide. Really? Okay, that's interesting. This is actually tougher for me to decide. A lot of people voting. We're at a tie again. Of course, we're at a tie again. I can't believe this. I can't believe how even these movies are. I'm so surprised. I'll be honest, I thought Return of the King would be a lot higher. Trinity saying, no, another tie. Don't worry, it's not going to be a tie. Although there's 10 votes left. And okay, we got some more votes coming in. Split right down the middle. Look at this.
So
this is good. So we know that people equally like these movies. Ryan, where are you at?
I can't remember who asked the really cool question about which one ages well. And I think that applies here, even though Gladiator was one that we said doesn't age well compared to the other one. But between these two, both being really huge epics, which one ages well? Because the only reason why I asked this is because I feel like a lot of less people are watching Lord of the Rings. Like this whole other generation has no idea what the freak it is. Shame on them. And I'm old. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
Well, vote real quick, okay? Because we're running out of time.
Yeah, I guess we need to vote.
Okay. So I think I have to go. All right. So here's the thing. Gladiator is one of my favorite movies of all time. It really is. But I honestly rewatching Lord of the Rings for this whole tournament made me really love it more than I ever did. I don't understand why. Because if it was I'm telling you, if it was Braveheart right now, I would never have voted for anything except for Braveheart. Gladiator, I don't know. I had to go Lord of the Rings for this one, and I'm getting hate right now. I'm getting hate. I beg all of you, please don't give this video a thumbs down just because Lord of the Rings won. I didn't sell out, I promise.
Or do it and see what happens.
Yeah,
Nothing happens. Bring
nothing. Nothing. Don't worry about it. I don't care. All right, let me go ahead and read all of the hate that I'm getting right now. Second Trinity says no. Captain Pennsylvania says no. My life is ruined. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I definitely ruined your life. Ryan, thank you for saying yikes. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Trinity says it's rigged. We want to recount. Tech Gear actually is loving this, even though he probably hates my decision. Captain Pennsylvania wants a recount for sure. Okay, lots of hate. I love it. I love this. Okay, let me go ahead and throw our winner into the chat, into the bracket here. I'm so discombobulated because
I will say that Ted Gear Clothing would probably vote 3 times if he could for Lord of the Rings because it's his jam.
All right, let me go back to the bracket. Real quick, just so that we can see how we got here. Return of the King is our winner. It first beat out A Beautiful Mind by a very close margin. Blew out the waters for the Hurt Locker, and again with a very close vote, we have Gladiator coming in and losing. All right, well, I definitely didn't go as I expected, although the number 1 seed did win. So maybe it should have gone how we expected. What do you think, Ryan? After all this, are you satisfied? Do you think the right movie won out of all this, or at least a respectable winner out of all this?
The right movie won, in my opinion. The obvious movie won, and the obvious contender was up against it, in my opinion. Even though I fought tooth and nail for different results. That's only because I like the heat of the debate. But out of everything, if I would have filled out a bracket beforehand on my predictions, I think they would have been really, really close. I think the only one would have been Slumdog beating out Hurt Locker.
Yeah, that was one that I originally thought I was going to do, and I sort of talked myself out of it. Yeah, I'm with you, and I know who just said that. Mongo said you even have Lord of the Rings in the background. Look, I know I do. I understand. I do. It wasn't on purpose. I didn't rig anything. I promise you. It just happens to be the one movie that had the good landscape for me to use. Okay, please believe me. It's not rigged. Okay, it's fine. We're over it. Okay, proof of a rig. I think so. Yes.
Because mine is clearly Gladiator, y'all.
I mean, I love that scene in Gladiator. That was the best. With the velvet ropes. That was awesome. It was the best scene of the movie. It's right at the end. It was the end credit scene. If you didn't stay for the credits, you missed that scene.
Freaking Nick Fury jumping in and Dementors in the air.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody in the chat, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for making this definitely one of the best shows we've ever had so far. It was the most participation, the most voting. I loved it, and if you enjoyed it, and I know a lot of people always say give us a thumbs up, but if you like it, definitely give a thumbs up in the video, and it helps that stupid YouTube algorithm and whatnot. But I want to give a huge thank you to Ryan from Nerdy Blurb TV for joining us in what I think hopefully is a successful guest appearance. Unlike last week with Trinity, even though I'm gonna resolve that with him, he's still mad at me. But Ryan, thank you so much for being here. This was a true blast, and I hope you had a good time, and I hope you'll come back and debate with us again in the future.
Okay, so flashing me right now. Thank you, Trinity. I appreciate that. I just want to say this right now so that this is out there in the ether of the internet. This is the coolest thing on YouTube right now. This is way freaking cool. And the more people who can share this to let people know that this is happening, the more fun it's going to be, not only for us doing it, but for you being participants of it, because Adam is doing something that nobody else is doing, and I wanted to be a part of that just to let other people know that he's making it rain over here. So support him, share the show, and don't even go to my channel.
You're making me blush. Thank you. It's my goal just to have people come and hang out and have a good time. That's honestly my goal. And if anything comes out of that, then that's just icing on the cake for sure. But that's always the initial goal of this, was just to have people come together and have a good time. And thank you, I appreciate that. You're making my cheeks red a little bit. All right, guys, go check out Ryan's channel. Go follow him on Twitter or wherever else I know I put the Twitter in the description below. So definitely go check him out. Ryan, thank you so much. This was a blast. Thank you everyone here in the chat. Next week, I'll do a short brief preview for next week. Next week we are with the launch of or release of Birds of Prey. We will be doing DC EU movies. Okay, and I talked to him earlier. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, Trinity is going to try to make it work to come back next week to redeem the dumb video and audio issues that we had. So hopefully we can work that out, but we're definitely doing DCEU. Hopefully Second Street Marvel's coming on, and that should be a really fun one. So definitely, I know half of you probably won't go see Birds of Prey, but which is fine. But that's what we're doing. So brush up on your DC movies, and we're gonna have a fun time next week as well. So thank you, Ryan. Thank you, chat. It's been a fun night, and we will see you guys next week.